Okay, so it's noon on Thursday. What day is it? The third or fourth, one day in November. So it's great to be here with Chris Staffen. Chris came on board with the staff at the Pluckemin Presbyterian Church just as ago. She's been part of the church for a very long time. Close to what 24, 25 years now. You've been kicking around the Pluckemin.
21, 22.
22. Okay. Chris, just give us a little bit of your story, a little bit of the background. What brought you to the Pluckemin Presbyterian Church in the first place?
I enrolled my triplets in the preschool at the church, and the next thing I knew, it was a wonderful preschool. I was very excited, and I love the community. And one day, the pastor then, it was Pastor Jeff then, stopped me at the doorway as I was picking the girls up and said, "Can you bring snacks for our vacation Bible school?" And, nervous, new mom and everything. I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" He's like, "Just go pick up goldfish crackers and bring them to vacation Bible school." And I said, I can do that. And the next thing I know, I'm running the snacks, then I'm running the music, then I'm running vacation Bible school. But it was that preschool experience that actually gave us the window into the church. The kids joined the church choir. We started attending. We went to the Christmas Eve service where they sang. And one thing led to another, and then I became a member, and then of course they went through Sunday school and were confirmed there. So it was really that preschool that brought us into the church.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, you've it's been quite a story. It started with one of the things that I'm always interested in, as a pastor, is finding what I know many people call a first serve opportunity. Right. I think when folks are thinking about helping out in the church, being part of the church, there's always, this trepidation. First of all, if they ask me to help, then I'm going to be doing this forever and ever and ever. That's the first point of trepidation I think that people have. And the other point of trepidation is, I've never done this before. It sounds so massive. It sounds such a big thing for me to have to do. Whereas, there are things that are very simple, they're very straightforward, they're easy starting points, right? And that's what I call a first serve opportunity. Pastor Jeff asked you, "Can you bring snacks?"
Yeah.
And I could do that. But then that became, "Can you be in charge of snacks?"
But that was my choice. That was my choice.
That was your choice, right? That was your choice. But that's the thing that I think people find challenging. It's going to be such a big job, and the thing is, find something that's easy to jump in and do. Bring in snacks. Maybe bring dinner one night to a youth program. Maybe just come and be a presence at one of the programs. Help serve coffee. Help do whatever. There's a lot of very, very simple and very, very straightforward things that people can jump in on. So you've been part of the church for a long time, and I know that in the past we had a director of Child and Family Ministries, and it's been a long time since we've had that position. You were part of the process that brought you on board, right? Because you're one of the elders in the church, right? So this is a kind of strange type of thing that you're involved in. But what was the impetus, would you say, behind bringing you on board, Chris?
From the church's perspective, or from my perspective?
From the church's perspective. Let's start with the church's. I could talk to that if you'd prefer. You've been part of session as well.
Yes. No, it was very obvious that if we didn't start generating, bringing in new families and generating some excitement behind what was going on, that we were just on a slow decline, or maybe a quick decline. And as a church, probably would not exist in 5 or 10 years. A lot of churches have faced this problem. They've done nothing, and then they have just closed. And as a session and as leadership of the church, we did not want to see that happen. So we made a commitment to go full force and bring in some staff that was going to bring people to the church to live out our mission, to be a hub of caring in the community, and to serve people and go and tell them about the good news about Jesus Christ. And and meet them where they were. It's very obvious right now that not every family, not every person can come to church at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, or even desires to. So we need to find other ways to reach these people in our community. And I think that was one of the big reasons we brought back the director of Child and Family Ministries, was to figure out ways to meet these families that live right across the street, the hundreds of families, maybe thousands that live in the hills and in the surrounding communities. As well as we brought on a director of communication that would help us get the word out, to talk to people through social media, through advertising in the papers, through any kind of communication that went out to tell people, hey, we're here and we have these amazing programs. And it's been fantastic. We've had some real successes over the last 6 months, and it's really exciting.
So why don't you take a minute and let's start talking about some of those successes that you're mentioning. What's been happening? So well, in fact, let me take a step back first, right? Let me take one step back from here. Or two step backs. So we've got a couple of people who are watching right now. In fact, your daughter Rachel has just said, "Go, Mom."
Hi, Rachel.
Hey, Rachel, it's good to see you with us. So anybody that's with us live, y'all can ask any questions that you want. I mean, feel very, very free. If you do ask a question, please make sure that you put a Q at the beginning so that we know that it is a question and not just a comment. I mean, we covet your comments as well. It's great to hear from you. But if you've got any specific questions, go ahead and put a Q at the beginning so that we know that you are actually asking a question. But one of the other things that I wanted to say, both you and I, Chris, over the course of the last few months, we've gone through the whole COVID stuff. There was a period where we were in and out. There's a period where we were masked and we were not masked. We're back in the sanctuary every single week now. We've got about 60 people plus regularly coming to our worship service. But both you and I have heard from folks that are there on Sunday mornings. Oh, our numbers are down. Things are rough. It's a really hard time that we're going through. One of the things that you and I have both said to folks that are coming from that particular place, it's the Sunday morning numbers are not what they used to be. I mean, before COVID, it wasn't much more. I mean, we were around 100 people on a Sunday morning, but how we've responded to that is by saying, look, you're there on a Sunday morning. It's absolutely wonderful to see you. It's great for the community to gather together on a Sunday, but church is not just a Sunday morning. Church is not just a Sunday morning. In terms of things for adults, we've got 3 Bible studies going on. We've got some service opportunities with Medical Equipment Ministry, with Habitat for Humanity, with New City Kids. There's a lot of opportunities to serve as adults beyond just a Sunday morning. But for folks to get a real picture of what's happening in our church, you really need to jump in and see some of the things that are going on beyond a Sunday morning, particularly in the area of child and family ministry. Some of the things that have been started since Chris jumped on board. And Chris is going to talk about these. But if Sunday morning, friends, is your measure of what's happening in the church, then you're not getting a very accurate measure of what's happening at the Pluckemin Presbyterian Church. That's probably about. Can I say? Do you think I can say this, Chris? That's probably only about half of the people that are actually involved in the wider ministries that are going on. Is that accurate? Would you think?
Maybe even less than half. But yeah.
Maybe even less than half. Right. So let me. I'm going to pop a couple of things up on the screen here. Hang on a second. I've got some. So there's a letter that got mailed. I think it got mailed yesterday, right? And some of you may have received it today. Some of you may have yet to receive it today. And basically, it's in written form. Everything that we are talking about right now. Okay. You'll have noticed that we're doing more of these videos, and we're very purposely doing these videos. Because you can communicate much more excitement and passion in a video than you can on a piece of paper. right? So I know some of you like to get things in written form, but you've got that, okay? That's on the way to you, and I hope you receive that as a celebration of everything that's happening at the Pluckemin Presbyterian Church. And we've got a bunch of other things going on as well, right? But I hope what we're doing as we're progressing forward in ministry, you see these things as a cause for celebration, for us to rejoice at what God's doing in our midst, okay? So you've got the letter, but here we're going to talk about, and I hope you really see my excitement and Chris's excitement for this. So these are some of the things that have been going on in child and family ministries over the past 6 months. And again, for those of you that prefer it in black and white, it's coming to you. You'll see that, okay? So Chris, give us hit the high points, and let's get a sense of what's been happening, what's going on.
So many high points. So buckle up. Here we go. So I'd say we really kicked it off when we went back to our in-person VBS this summer. That was in the beginning of July, and we had 38 children and 16 teen volunteers and 15 adults that helped put together this amazing week. It was fun. It was safe. It was outdoors. The kids had a blast. The volunteers had a blast. But even more than that, we got these people to engage not only for that week, but moving forward. Half of the 16 volunteers, the teen volunteers, were first-time volunteers. Some of them had been campers and had moved up, and some just came out from the community and said, "Yeah, I'd like to do this." And 2/3 of those teens are not.
So hang on. Let me just generally just be very clear on what you just said. How many of the kids were not part of the church before?
Well, of the teen volunteers,
they were first time. Yeah.
There were 2/3 of them are not church members, and half of them were first-time volunteers. Now they may have been campers.
Wow.
But they were first.
But that in itself is absolutely phenomenal. So our church community is not just the people who are in the pews on Sunday morning. Our church community is far wider than that. And Child and Family Ministries is pulling from people who are part of our church community, but we don't see them on a Sunday morning, right? That's phenomenal, Chris.
And of the 38 children that were at VBS, I think only about 6 of them are church members or are grandchildren of church members or something, 6 or 7. And the rest are all children that are from the community. Now, some of them have been coming to VBS for years. Some of them were brand new this year. And these children and their families are still connecting with the church and still coming to things. And I'll get to some of the things that they're doing. But one of the exciting things that came out of VBS this year was we had this group of teens who really enjoyed being together and they really bonded with the kids. And they were really sad at the end of the week that it was done. And they begged me to have other events before next summer where they could get together, not only with each other, but with the children. So that led us to hold our very first VBS Parents Night Out and Teen Lock-In. And what happened is early September, we invited the VBS parents to bring their children to the church and drop them off for a couple hours so they could go out and have a nice dinner or catch up on sleep or whatever they wanted to do. We had 22 children attend. It was amazing. And then we had 10 teen volunteers from VBS who were there. They played with them. They did games. They did crafts. We fed them pizza and ice cream. These kids had a blast. In fact, one little girl, I heard her as she ran by to go to the next event saying, "This is the best night ever." It was just so cool to see that excitement. And so when the parents came back at 7:00 to pick up their very tired but very happy and well-fed children, the parents were just overjoyed. They were just so grateful. There was one family in particular that a VBS mom had actually brought this family with her, brought the children with. That family had just suffered a loss of their house due to the flood that just happened. That was right after the hurricane went through. And this poor family's mom was trying to just find time to clean things out and get their lives back together. And so these children were able to escape that for a couple hours and just come and have fun and be kids and not have to deal with that. And it was so impactful to see the gratitude in her face and the excitement in the kids just to be there. Again, being at that hub of caring. So after these kids spent this awesome 2 hours with us, the teens then, the 10 teens, were able to they had a teen volunteer lock-in. It was all outdoors, so it was still safe, and it was for a couple hours. We didn't do an overnight this year, but we had a fire pit for them to have s'mores. And then they just had fun playing games and giggling with each other and talking. And it was just really cool. And some of these teens have stayed engaged, and they're coming to other events in the church, like Messy Church. So that leads me to Messy Church. If you haven't been to Messy Church, you need to come, because this is an amazing, amazing time. It is on Tuesday evenings. It's the second Tuesday of the month. And it's a chance for families, for parents, children, grandchildren, even if you're single, anybody in the community, to come together for dinner. You get a free dinner. Just come and eat and enjoy. Some music. We sing songs. A worship component, a beautiful messaged worship component, and then a fun intergenerational activity. The first year we played a really fun get to know you game that we had 50 people there who were just having a blast. The last month we painted pumpkins, and talk about messy. It was so much fun to see the kids and their creativity, and the adults. Everybody painted a pumpkin. And this month, our Messy Church is coming up on November 9th. That's this coming Tuesday. We're going to be making Christmas cards for our military troops. And so again, another way for people to come together at a time that's not Sunday morning, to still worship and have fellowship and be together. And it's been a huge success. So a number of our VBS families, as well as other families from the community and other people from the community, have been coming to Messy Church. So it's phenomenal. I'd say about half of the people who come are church members, and half are from the community and are not members yet. But again, they're finding this time to worship, to be together in fellowship, and it's just really fun.
Let me throw in there. I think one of the things that what am I trying to say? So I think a lot of folks have got a preconception of what worship is, right? Worship is what happens at the church on a Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Okay, very specifically at 10 a.m. in the sanctuary. That's what worship is. Well, one of the things that we're doing through Messy Church is we're showing that worship's not restricted to any particular space or any particular time. Messy Church is a worship service. It's very, very different from anything that most of the folks who have historically been part of Pluckemin have experienced before as a worship service. I know some of you have experienced Tizé and maybe Iona stuff, and something that's a little bit more chanty or esoteric. But this is hands-on, down and dirty, just a lot of fun, where we're just making a noise and we're praising God together. It's very visceral worship that we're just there. We're all together. Kids, adults, younger adults, older adults. It's for everybody. But it's a very holistic worship service. The whole idea of communion, right, is we gather around a table and we celebrate a meal together. Well, Messy Church is communion. It really is in its most primitive form. We're sitting around tables, we're eating a meal together. So I want to make sure that you all realize that we are now a church that has multiple worship services, right? We've taken that step, not just in person on Sundays, not just online on Sundays, but also with Messy Church. It is a worship service, and I really want to invite those of you who are close by, come on and let's worship together on Tuesday nights, not just on Sunday mornings. Sorry to interrupt you there, Chris. I just want to make that point.
No, that's perfect. And you don't need to bring anything. You don't need to do anything. Just come. Just come at 6 o'clock and enjoy. Yeah, absolutely. There's another time during the week besides Sunday mornings and Tuesday nights where worship is going on of sorts, and that's Wednesday afternoons. Every Wednesday from 4 to 5, Carl, who's our minister of music, and I run a after-school music group for children ages 4 through 4th grade called Jammin with Jesus. And we have 22 children registered. And on any Wednesday, you can see these kids dancing and singing and praising Jesus. I mean, learning about Jesus's love for them. And it's just fun. We have games, musical games. Carl always does a Bible story where the kids get to act out different characters. It was really fun last week to talk about the baptism of Jesus. And when we asked them who was the man who baptized Jesus, they couldn't come up with a name, and we told them it began with J, and they listed every other J name in the world other than John. It was very cute to see their perspective of what time is now. No, it's not Jeremy, it's not Joshua, it's not Justin, it's John. But these kids are engaged.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting where we are in culture?
And it reminds us that we need to be speaking their language. Not that we're going to change the name of John the Baptist, but we need to understand where these kids, this generation, these families, where they're coming from. But these kids are, they come every week and they are enjoying the music and they're enjoying singing about Jesus. And our hope is that we will have some of them ready to sing a Christmas song or two at our tree laying event in December, when we usually have a choral and bell concert, and then we go out and light the tree and have cookies and hot cocoa. So we're putting together some Christmas songs, and we're hoping that the kids will be available to show at least one of those songs for everybody and be a part of that exciting event. So Jammin with Jesus every Wednesday. If you have a child or a grandchild or know someone who does in that age 4 to 4th grade age range, bring them by. It's a free program. It's every Wednesday. We've been outside yesterday. We finally went inside because it was cold, but we're doing it, in a safe way, indoors, masked, with the doors open, and the kids are just having a blast. And Carl and I are having a blast. So that's another time when things are really rocking at the church that you may not see if you're here on Sundays. I do want to mention that.
Okay.
I was just going to say all of these, and a really cool way to see what's really happening is come by the church and watch the pictures that are in the hallway on the screen. We have the roving pictures. You can see them on Sunday mornings, or if you come by another time, we'll plug them in for you. And all of the pictures, there must be by now maybe 100
they are. So let me just add, those pictures are running every day, right? Okay. When I come in, if I'm in the building, which I am at least 3 days a week, I usually click on those pictures, and they're rotating. I mean, how recent are those pictures, Chris? The ones that we're running right now, how recent are they?
All of those pictures were taken in the last 2 months. And it's amazing. It's all from the parents' night out through the trunk or treat, I think was our last thing. And they're all recent. And you will see just a ton of kids and families having fun together, worshiping together, being together as a community. That is Pluckemin Church. That's the vibrant, exciting church. That's happening. It's happening now. So come by and see those pictures. Yeah.
So one of the other big pieces that we've got as one of our ministry partners at the church is our preschool. I mean, the Pluckemin Church has been where it is for a very, very long time, and we're right on the foot of the hills. I mean, there are 4,000 households directly across the street from us, and we're starting to reach out into those communities, not just with Child and Family Ministries, but also with other ministry opportunities as well as we seek to expand on our campus and do more and more things, to provide ministry opportunities, to provide places for people to serve and to learn about the Lord Jesus. But we've got the preschool right on our property, right in our building, and we have 140 children who, I believe that's the right number, are registered as part of the preschool this year, which is absolutely phenomenal how things have grown over the last even with COVID, right? They've continued to grow and flourish. So how do you see us engaging with the I know some of the things that I'm doing, but in terms of Child and Family Ministries, how are we engaging how are we connecting with the preschool?
We're very much engaging with them. The very first thing we did at the beginning of their school year is the parents came to a walkthrough. Well, usually they have an orientation where all the families come together and the kids get to see their classroom, but because of COVID, they did it as a one at a time walkthrough. So families would show up during the day, this was early in September, and just come and walk through and meet the child's teacher and then leave. So myself and Pastor Ian and a number of volunteers were there to greet them and welcome them back to the preschool. And we had a flyer that we handed out that talked about all the upcoming things that they may be interested in for their children and their families. Plus we had coffee and snacks and water for them all. So we were able to just engage in conversations with most of the 120 families that came that day. And it was wonderful. Well, one mother actually asked for a tour of the church, so Ian took her in and talked to her more, and she's been talking to me about wanting to enroll her children possibly in some of our events. But a number of the families that came have enrolled their kids in things like Jammin with Jesus. They have come to Messy Church. And so now every month, Laura helps me put out this coming up this month newsletter to the Giving Nest, to the families of the Giving Nest, that goes out at the beginning of every month and just says, hey, this is what's happened on the other side of the building in the church. Come and join us. And again, a number of these preschool families have become regulars at things like Messy Church and Jammin with Jesus, which is really exciting to see. So we are definitely very engaged with the preschool. Barbara, the director, is a huge supporter of the church, and vice versa. She and I see each other and talk probably weekly. And some of the kids who stay in their aftercare program, they will actually walk over to our side of the building to do the Jammin with Jesus. So we're very much in partnership with just bringing these kids, together and working our church and the preschool. And it's been a wonderful partnership, and it's just going to grow going forward, especially once things relax a bit with COVID and we're able to do some more in-person things with them at the preschool time. Right before COVID hit, we were already talking with them about having volunteers go over and read stories to the kids or teach them something. And then COVID shut that down. But I'm very much looking forward to the day when we can engage and do that again.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm doing, I go in about once a week with my guitar. They always have a singing time every morning with the different classes. Right now it's 2 different classes because of COVID. They would usually do the whole thing together, right? But they have a different class each morning. So I go in roughly once a week, and I'll help to lead them in their singing with the guitar. And the other thing, the Giving Nest, their philosophy is in their name, right? They're giving, right? They're very, very mission minded. All the leaders of the preschool are Christian women. They're active in their own churches, so they're very, very mission minded, and they've participated in a number of our mission drives, particularly with Young Lives. And I think you're all aware of the growing relationship that we have with Young Lives, and the hope and the prayer that we have to be able to continue to grow with them, even on our property. One of the things we've done over the last couple of years is we've had a number of diaper drives. We had one right before COVID. And Lucy talked about that in the video that we did about Young Lives, that was utterly life-changing for some of these girls because diapers flew off the shelves. There were no diapers available. And here we had collected about 400 diapers plus. There were tons of boxes, and all these young ladies were able to have diapers for their kids. And the preschool participated in that. And whenever we've done something, they always jump in and work alongside us. So the more we're doing in terms of mission, the stronger our partnership is going to grow with the preschool. It's not just a philosophical, we say we're in partnership. We're hand in hand with them. It's absolutely phenomenal to see that. So the more we're doing, the more we're connecting with them. Chris, there was one huge event, and this is a one-off. It was a huge event that we did just last week. In fact, did you want to talk a little bit about this and what the impact of the trunk and treat was?
Yeah, the trunk or treat was fabulous. We had 12, 15 cars there, a bunch of cars, but it was really cool because some of the cars that we had, a car that was there, a preschool family brought a car. We had somebody from the community who just said, hey, I want to come and bring a car. We had a mission partner, Habitat from Humanity, came and decorated a car and brought it. And then we had a number of members of our congregation bring their cars and trunks and decorate them. And that was phenomenal just to be together.
We even had a group from Young Lives come. Right. Lucy Mills, the regional director of Young Lives, she brought about half a dozen teen mums with their kids. They didn't have a car. They didn't do a decorated car, but they came and they got scads and scads of candy. And then they came into our building. They had ordered some pizza, and they had a Bible study together. So that's just to say that our community is wider than just our immediate area in which we find ourselves. Yeah. Folks from the wider area came and they participated in that, growing relationships. Right, everything's about growing relationships.
Yeah. Oh, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
My car was right next to the one from Habitat for Humanity, and it was just lovely to get to know the volunteers there. They're just wonderful people. And then I believe that some of the teen moms, or some of the moms that were there were people there that Habitat had helped build a house. And so they came by and met us. And it was just, it was a wonderful community event. And then, of course, we had just tons of kids come through in their costumes, which is always fun to watch. I would say, based on how much candy I gave out, we had well over 100 kids come through. Because I think there were more than that. Yeah, I would say, hundreds, several hundred. But no, it was definitely a very exciting time.
Let's jump ahead. What's next? What's next in Child and Family Ministry, Chris?
All right. Well, we have two very exciting programs that are kicking off this month. One is Plucky Church. And if you're scratching your head and saying, what is Plucky Church? Well, our Child and Family Ministries has been rebranded as Plucky Kids. And Plucky Church is our Sunday school program. It is the Christian education program for our children ages 4 through 6th grade. And it is kicking off again. It took us a couple months to get our volunteers in line and get everything set up. But we are launching on a week from Sunday on November 14th. And initially, we're going to have 2 classes based on the people who have registered so far. We're going to have one class for children ages 4 through 2nd grade. And then we're going to have an older class for 4th through 6th graders. And we have a new curriculum, which I'm really excited about. Plucky Church will meet during worship, so on Sundays from 10 to 11. We had a number of families say, hey, 9 a.m. just isn't working for us, and after church isn't working for us. We really want our kids to be in Sunday school while we're in worship. So we listened to what you all said, and so that's what we're going to try. However, Plucky Church will not meet the first Sunday of the month because that will be time for families to be together and worship for communion. So on the first Sunday, families can worship together, and then every other Sunday we will have Plucky Church. And I'm really excited to get that going. We have a team of right now about 12 volunteers. Some are past Sunday school teachers, some are new to the program, but they're all very excited. We're going to do it on a rotating basis, kind of like we used to do children's worship, where every volunteer either teaches or assists about once a month, so nobody has to miss worship every month. So we're very excited for that. So if you have a child in that age or a grandchild in that age or know somebody, sign them up for Plucky Church because it's happening. Then, not to leave out our older kids, we are launching again this month on November 16th, a teen program. And it is a combination of youth group, and it'll have a path to confirmation for those who want it, but it's not, if you're not ready to become a member or aren't interested in that, it's still an opportunity for teens to get together. So it's going to include dinner, an interactive faith lesson discussion that Ian will lead, and a fun activity, a game or some kind of activity that's a social aspect. So again, it's part youth group and part Christian education, and just a time for teens to get together and explore their faith and explore their relationships and have a really great time. So we already have a number of teens signed up. So again, if you are in 7th grade through high school, please sign up and come and join us. It will be every Tuesday from 5:30 to 7. And then the Tuesdays that we have Messy Church, so on the 2nd Tuesday of the month, the group will go to Messy Church instead of their normal class. So they will participate in Messy Church together and worship that way. So I'm really excited.
That is awesome. Yeah. Go ahead. No, keep going. Yeah. Don't let me stop you.
I'm really excited about those 2 programs and engaging these kids in. We've had some things that have been really fun and with some worship components, but this is an opportunity for kids of all ages 4 through 12th grade, to really explore their faith and learn more about God and Jesus and their love for them.
Absolutely. So, how can, if anybody is captured, and I hope there are people who are being captured by this, right? I mean, the whole idea, it's more than just a Sunday morning. Where if it's only Sunday morning you're seeing, you're not catching anywhere near the whole picture, and there are opportunities for service. And we started talking about first serve opportunities. There are some very, very straightforward first serve opportunities. If you love just being with kids and want to help kids grow in their faith, but you're unsure about how to talk and how to teach and how to lead, you can be a presence, right? You can be a presence in a room with people. You for the teen programs, you can bring a pizza, you can bring dinner, you can help, you can just be there, drop something off. You can be a presence. But Chris, talk about some of the ways if people want to jump in, and I hope it's more than just want to. I hope I really hope and pray that the folks who are hearing this are captured by this, and they see that this is the work that God's doing. They say, I want to be part of this. I want to be part of what God's doing at the Pluckemin Presbyterian Church. I'll be quite sad if we don't have a response to this, right? Because I think God is at work, and the people of God should be excited about what God is doing, and we should be jumping on board and participating and actively serving alongside one another in the midst of. So what are some of the ways that people can jump in and be part of things, right?
Absolutely. There are so many ways. And again, Ian talked about, that first serve thing. These aren't scary ways. These are things that you could do very simply. Ian was talking about, if you like hanging out with some really cool teens, sign up to bring them a pizza one night. We're going to serve dinner every Tuesday. And it could be as simple as just having pizza there for them. So if you could order a pizza and bring it, and then hang out and maybe play a game with them. That's another thing you could do. If you want to just one Tuesday night want to come and do an activity with the teens, either one that you think of or I'll give you one, because we're always looking for people to help kind of be a presence there with the teens. Part of the program is for them, especially those who want to become members and confirm, is for them to get to know other people in the church community, especially those who are older than them, another generation. So just being a presence there, come and be a chaperone presence and bring a pizza. That's a very simple way on a given Tuesday night. I promise you I won't sign you up to do every Tuesday, but unless you'd like to. So that's a very easy way to get involved. We're also looking throughout the year for the teens to do some kind of mission and service projects. If you know of one, if you have a company or a group that could use some teen volunteers, let us know. And if you would like to help organize a mission project for these teens, or just a service day, it doesn't have to be a full-blown, month-long project. Let me know. That's another way that if that talks to your heart and your talents, we would love to have you reach out and help in that way. There are definitely opportunities to help serve at Messy Church. Every month we provide a dinner. If you could make a dinner one month, and it's as simple as a simple entree, maybe a salad or a side, and a dessert, and just make it and bring it to the church ahead of time. We have volunteers who will serve it and set up and clean up. If you would like to help serve and set up and clean up, that is certainly a way to help as well. But we really need people to just volunteer a meal one month for Messy Church. If you have an idea for an activity for Messy Church, I would love to have somebody organize an activity one month. And you can say, hey, in March, I would like to do this project with the group. It's something I've done before, or it's something I've always wanted to do. So if you have an idea for an activity, that's another way that you could do that. Again, these are just one-time things where you come and do it. And if you want to do it more, absolutely, you could do it maybe every few months or whatever. But jump in for one thing. We also are looking for a few more people to help with Plucky Church. If you have the heart and could be a Plucky Church Sunday school teacher, that would be phenomenal. If you just want to be an assistant, we need 2 adults in the room at all times. So we absolutely need somebody who's just there as an assistant and maybe kind of getting, learning how the teaching is done. And maybe someday we'll become a head teacher also, or maybe just want to be an assistant. We could really use that help. So if you're able to serve in that way, and again, it's about once a month, just or less, just to be there from 10 to 11 with the classroom to either teach or just assist with what's going on in the classroom, that would be phenomenal. And then
Awesome.
There's always, joining.
There's more. Is there more? Is there more?
There's more. You can always just join the Child and Family Ministry team. We are, just a group of people who have a real heart for children and youth. And, maybe you have some ideas. Maybe you just want to be in on the excitement and hear what's going on. Our team will come up with new ideas. We'll also execute some of these ideas as people are able. They'll volunteer and do that. It's not a huge time commitment. It's whatever your heart's calling you. we, again, we meet sometimes once a month. Sometimes we don't even need to meet that regularly, but we are a team that is committed to finding ways for children and their families to grow in their faith and learn about God's love and be together. So if that speaks to your heart, join our team and find out other little ways behind the scenes or in front of the scenes that you can help out with this ministry. Or
Awesome.
if you have another way, another idea, any other ideas that you have on what we could be doing or what your talents are that you would like to offer this ministry, absolutely, I'm all ears. I would love to have you.
And I mean, through all of this, I mean, Chris, we've prayed into this, right? I mean, the elders, I mean, one of the things, I mean, the elders are the spiritual leaders of the church, right? We're called to lead the church in its mission and in its ministry. That's what we're called to do. And at the heart of that is prayer. We spend time as elders and we spend time on our own praying for the work and ministry that God's going to do in the Pluckemin Presbyterian Church. And our role is to discern and to seek to follow God's will. That's what we're about. That's what we're doing. So one thing that all of you can do, every single one of you who's watching this, whether you're in Pluckemin, whether you're part of the church locally, whether you're connecting with us online, you can pray. You can pray that God will continue to do the work that He is desirous of happening at Pluckemin, and pray that we will be faithful in responding to that work, and we'll do what God is calling us to do. And it's only when we're doing what God's calling us to do that we're going to flourish, right? I mean, if we seek to do our own thing, we're going to continue to just be on this decline that we've been on for a long time at Pluckemin. But what we're seeing now is not a downward slope, but because we're praying, because we're committed to the call that God has for us, and because we're no longer just talking about it. We're not a church that talks about things. We're a church that does the work that God's calling us to do. And what we've seen, because we've put our foot out into the water. You know the story of Peter? I mean, I know you do, Chris, the story of Peter. He's in the boat, there's a storm, and Jesus is somewhere else. And all of a sudden they see this figure walking to them on the water. And all of a sudden they realize it's Jesus, and he's actually walking on the water. And Peter says, "Oh my, it's Jesus. And he says, "Jesus, tell me to come out to you, and I'll walk on the water as well. Let me do this as well." And Jesus says, "Come on then. Come on out of the boat and put your feet on the water. I'm here." And Peter kept his eyes on Jesus, and he stepped out onto the water, and he started walking towards Jesus. And it was only when he stopped looking at Jesus and saw that he remembered that things were rough. There was a storm, and he suddenly remembered he was on the water, and he was walking on the water, and he was defying the laws of physics. But it was because he was with Jesus that he was able to do it. And as soon as he took his eyes off Jesus, he started to go down. And we're a church that's got its eyes focused on the Lord Jesus. And we're walking on water right now, guys. And I don't want us to take our eyes off Jesus. And it's tempting to do that. It's very, very tempting to do that. And we're not going to. We're absolutely going to keep our eyes focused on the Lord and do what He's calling us to do. Now, in the comments, I've got a link to a form. Let me just bring that back up right now. If you look, you can't click on it on the screen, right? You can't click on it on the screen, but in the comments, you can click on that. But another thing that you can do, and that will take you to a form that's got a list of all kinds of things that you can vote from very simple things to some other things as well, right? But there's also, look at this, right? We've got, let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that comment first. If you get your phone right now and you scan that, you might be watching this on your phone, so that might make it a little difficult. But if you're watching this on your laptop, you can scan that QR code, and that will take you to the same form. Okay, just go ahead and do that. So there's a couple of ways to do that. That QR code will be in the letter that you are going to get in the mail either later today or maybe tomorrow. Okay. So let me pull that back off the screen. So that's right there just now. I'll bring that up at the end, just for a couple of seconds. But let me just give you all an opportunity. We've We've got another comment here from Peggy Moore. This is either Peggy or Dave. It could be either one of them, but we're grateful for that. This is great. I mean, it's absolutely exciting. This is not what we are doing. This is what God is doing at the Pluckemin Presbyterian Church. So I don't know if any others of you have any questions. There's just a few of you who are watching right now. You know, any of you who are watching this after the fact, go ahead and write your questions in the comments. We'll get them, right? Any comments, write them. You know, any words of encouragement, any words of challenge. You know, whatever you want to say, write it in the comments. I don't care if you're being polite or not. Just write your comments and we'll respond to them. We'll respond to them, right? We'll listen to your voice. So, Chris, do you have anything that you want to finish up with right now?
I just want to tell everybody that you're absolutely right. It's what God is doing in our church, and you know, not what any one of us is doing. But we really need your prayers and need you to take that step on the water and come join us, because again, it's so exciting, and it's just to meet these kids and their families and be a part of their faith journey is so rewarding. I'm really excited, and I want to share that with all of you. So please find some way to take that step and just come and be part of what's happening in Children and Family Ministries, what's happening in Plucky Kids, which is our new name. And if you have any questions or ideas or comments or whatever, yes, you can put them in the chat. You can also reach out to me at chris@ppch.org. Very simple to remember.
Okay. So, Chris, thank you so much for spending this time on a Thursday lunchtime. Those of you who are watching this live, thank you so much for being here. I think some of you have stuck with us the entire time, and it's been great. And a couple of you have jumped into the conversation. You can still jump into the conversation. We're always open to hearing from you. We'll listen to you. We'll respond to you. You know, it's the conversation's always open, always open. Okay. So, Chris, again, thank you for being here. Thanks to all of you. We'll either see you live in person, or we'll see you on the interwebs. But it's good to be with you. God bless you all.
God bless you. Bye.